There is a moment you've probably felt when your voice tightens, your fists clench, your heart pounds, and logic seems to leave the room. It happens in arguments, in traffic, in moments when someone disrespects you, lies to you, underestimates you. It happens when you hear one sentence, and your entire mood changes. One text message, and your day is ruined. You're not crazy. You're not broken. But in that exact moment, you're no longer in control. Your emotions are. And that's the point most people lose their power. Because the truth is, most people are ruled by their feelings. They're puppets to their impulses. They don't choose what to feel. They simply feel and follow. But here's the difference between the average and the unstoppable. One simple truth. Control over emotion is control over your life. Your relationships, your energy, your money, your decisions, your reputation, all rise or fall based on how well you command your emotions. And that's exactly what we're going to break down in this video. Because emotional control is not a gift you're born with. It's a discipline, a muscle, a skill. And if you stay with me to the end, you'll have tools most people never even consider. But first, a quick moment. If you're finding value here already, take just 1 second and subscribe to the channel. It keeps this kind of content alive and helps more people like you take back their mind. That's it. Now let's go deeper. Why most people stay emotionally weak? Most people aren't weak because they lack strength. They're weak because they've never been taught to own their emotions. Emotional weakness isn't about crying or feeling deeply. It's about letting your emotions own you. And in today's world, that's become the default mode. We live in a culture that rewards reactivity and punishes stillness. We are praised for being loud, quick to respond, and constantly plugged in. But here's the quiet truth. Most people are being emotionally manipulated without even realizing it. And they call it normal. You wake up and check your phone. The first thing you see, a headline designed to make you angry. A post that makes you feel less than. A message that sets your mind spinning. Before you've even brushed your teeth, you've already handed your emotions to the outside world. This is how most people live. Constantly reacting to things outside of them. The Stoics had a word for this. Slavery. Not of the body, but of the mind. If your emotional state is determined by something you can't control, a rude comment, someone else's opinion, traffic, a rejection, then you're not free. You're a puppet. And the worst part? You're pulling your own strings. Every time you lash out without thinking, every time you let anger speak before you do, every time you let fear stop you from doing what needs to be done, you're reinforcing that chain. Most people aren't failing because they're not smart or strong. They're failing because they're emotionally undisciplined. And the sad thing is, they've been told that's okay. They've been told expressing every feeling without filter is honest. They've been told that being angry makes them powerful. But that's not power. That's chaos wearing a mask. Emotional control is not about pretending you don't feel. It's about choosing when, how, and if you respond. It's the difference between a man who is triggered by everything and a man who can be trusted when everything is falling apart. The Stoics believe that the only thing truly within our control is our mindset. Not the weather, not people, not outcomes. Just our response. And that response, that stillness in the face of storms, is what made them legends. It's what made Epictetus unbreakable, even as a slave. What made Marcus Aurelius lead with clarity through war and plague. And what will make you unshakable in a world that's built to distract and provoke. So ask yourself honestly, are you reacting or responding? Are your emotions in your service? Or are you in service to them? Because the truth is, emotional strength isn't a personality trait. It's a discipline. And if you're tired of feeling hijacked by your own reactions, your training begins now. The psychology behind emotional control. Emotional control doesn't start in your chest. It starts in your brain. The science of it is clear. Every time you react without thinking, you're wiring your brain to make that same reaction easier next time. You lose your temper once. It becomes easier to do it again. You shut down when criticized. Your brain remembers that escape route. This is called neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself based on repetition. And what most people don't realize is that your emotional habits are hardwired into your biology. But that's not bad news. It's the most powerful truth you can learn. Because if emotions can be trained in, they can be trained out too. When you begin to respond differently, even once, by pausing, by breathing, by not reacting, you begin to break the cycle. And that's how emotional control is built. Not in massive moments, not in life-changing decisions, but in microseconds. The pause before you speak, the breath before you click send, the silence before you defend yourself. That's where your power is. Emotions are not enemies. They are messengers. They carry data about what you value, what you fear, what you expect. But most people confuse feeling with truth. They feel angry and believe something wrong has happened. They feel anxious and assume something bad is coming. But those feelings are not facts. They are impulses, triggers, warnings. They are not commands. And here's where psychology becomes freedom. You don't have to obey them. You can feel a surge of rage and still speak with calm. You can feel disappointment and still choose discipline. You can feel fear and still step forward. That gap between what you feel and how you act is the foundation of your power. It's the one place most people never learn to manage. They believe being real means being impulsive. That self-expression means emotional exposure. But real strength? It's the opposite. Real strength is choosing your response, even when the emotion screams louder than your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He wasn't talking in theory. He was ruling an empire, facing war, plague, death, betrayal, and yet his greatest battle and his greatest victory was the one inside his own head. This is what you're training now. Not just to feel less, but to feel better. With intention, with clarity, with awareness. Because once you become aware of how your emotions move, you can choose how to move through them. And that's where emotional control begins. Not with denial, but with command. The habits that build emotional command. Emotional control isn't about having a cold heart. It's about building a trained mind. And like any form of strength, it's not something you hope for. It's something you train daily. The strongest minds you've ever seen. The leaders, the legends, the ones who don't break under pressure. They weren't born that way. They built it. Habit by habit. One choice at a time. Let's break down 5 foundational habits that will build emotional command into your nervous system. Habit 1. The pause response. The first habit is deceptively simple. When you feel a surge of emotion, don't act. Don't speak. Don't text. Don't lash out. Pause. Even 2 seconds is enough. Take a breath. Let the chemical wave pass. You see, emotions rise like a tide, but tides recede. And once they do, your clarity returns. That pause is power. It's not weakness, it's composure. Practice it once a day, and you'll begin to feel like a different person. Habit 2. Morning mental setup. Most people lose emotional control before breakfast. Why? Because they never train their mindset before entering the world. The Stoics would start their mornings by preparing for the day mentally. Marcus Aurelius would remind himself, "You will meet people today who are selfish, impatient, arrogant." Why? So he wouldn't be surprised. He armored his mind before life could poke at his feelings. You must do the same. 5 minutes in the morning. What kind of person will I be today? How will I respond if I'm tested? Who do I refuse to become? That's not a routine. That's a shield. Habit 3. Daily exposure to discomfort. Your emotions are trained through friction. The more you face what's uncomfortable, the less control discomfort has over you. Cold showers, hard workouts, silence, saying no, having that one conversation you've been avoiding. Every time you face tension and stay calm, you rewire your brain. You teach it that discomfort isn't danger, that you can stay grounded under pressure. Voluntary discomfort isn't punishment, it's preparation. Habit 4. Nightly reflection. Powerful people don't go to bed with emotional baggage. They reflect. They unpack the day. This habit changes lives. 5 minutes. One notebook. Ask yourself, where did I lose control today? What triggered me? What did I learn? What will I do differently tomorrow? This habit makes your emotions your teacher, not your master. Habit 5. Speak in response, not reaction. This is a subtle but life-changing habit. Don't speak from the height of your feelings. Wait until your words serve clarity, not ego. When you speak after you've processed, not while you're reacting, people listen. Your presence changes. Your words land harder. You become someone who speaks with weight, not noise. These habits aren't about becoming perfect. They're about becoming stable. In a world full of emotional chaos, you'll be the one who stays clear. And when you do, you won't just change how you feel. You'll change how the world responds to you. How control builds dominance and trust. There's a quiet kind of power in a person who doesn't flinch. A man who listens more than he speaks. A woman who doesn't argue, because she doesn't need to. A person who stays composed when others are shaking. That kind of presence? That's not gifted. That's trained. And it comes from one thing: emotional control. In any room, the calmest person is the most powerful. Because when everyone else is reacting, they're calculating. When everyone else is spilling emotions, they're holding space. When others are breaking down, they're standing still. And in that stillness, people begin to lean in. Not because you demanded their respect, but because you earned it by staying centered when they couldn't. That's what builds trust. Not noise, not domination, but composure. People don't trust the loudest voice. They trust the one who doesn't need to prove anything. Look at history. The great leaders, warriors, thinkers, from Marcus Aurelius to Nelson Mandela, they weren't men of overreaction. They were men of poise, of restraint, of thoughtful presence. In negotiation rooms, the one who speaks last wins. In arguments, the one who listens first holds the ground. In conflict, the one who remains calm controls the energy. Why? Because people are drawn to certainty, and nothing communicates certainty more than emotional command. You want to dominate a room? Walk in with still eyes and measured breath. You want to lead a team? Speak less, mean more. You want to command respect in relationships? Stop reacting to every little shift. Start anchoring others with your own emotional stability. This doesn't mean you never speak up. It means when you do, it carries weight. Because it's rare, it's deliberate, and it's rooted in strength, not insecurity. Here's the deeper truth. Control isn't about suppression. It's about clarity. And clarity breeds confidence. Confidence builds trust. Trust becomes influence. And influence becomes power, the kind that lasts. Most people think emotional control is for monks or soldiers. They're wrong. It's for anyone who wants to walk through life with presence, with strength, with the ability to change a room without raising their voice. Because at the end of the day, people don't follow chaos. They follow clarity. And clarity begins with a man or woman who has mastered themselves. Emotional control doesn't just make you feel better. It makes you undeniable. Emotional control under extreme stress. Anyone can stay calm when life is quiet. When the lights are low, the air is still, and nobody is testing you. Composure feels easy. But that's not where emotional control is forged. It's not tested in peace. It's tested in chaos. When you've been disrespected, when you're blindsided, when something you love breaks and there's nothing you can do about it. This is where most people break. They raise their voice. They slam the door. They send the angry text. They spiral into emotion. And once they do, they lose the moment. Worse, they lose control of what happens next. You know what Stoics believed? Control isn't real unless it works under pressure. What matters most is who you are when the storm hits. Because that's when your habits speak for you. That's when your training shows. And if you've never trained emotional control when it's easy, you'll fall apart when it's hard. Imagine a soldier who never trained but went into battle. That's how most people live. They never practice calm in traffic. They never reflect when minor annoyances show up. They never sit in silence and breathe through discomfort. Then the big thing hits, heartbreak, betrayal, failure. And they don't know who they are anymore. But the Stoic knows. The one who's practiced stillness knows. Because they've rehearsed their response long before the test came. They've conditioned their mind to observe, not panic. To feel, but not collapse. To grieve, but not lose clarity. This doesn't mean you won't feel. It doesn't mean you'll be numb or cold. It means you'll feel everything, but still choose your response. And that choice is what separates the strong from the scattered. Let's get real. Life will hit you. It'll hit when you're not ready. It'll hit from people you trust. It'll hit when you've given your best and still fall short. You can't control that. But what you can control is this. Will I respond or will I react? Will I curse the world or will I compose myself? Will I panic or will I pause? The Stoics trained not to be unbreakable, but to recover faster, to bleed with grace, to feel the weight, but carry it without losing their footing. Seneca wrote, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." And that courage, that endurance, that inner resilience, is built in small, silent acts of control, every single day. So train now. Train while the stakes are small. Pause when the feeling flares. Breathe when your pride wants to shout. Be still when everything in you wants to explode. Because in those moments, you become more than emotional. You become anchored. And in a world of emotional storms, being anchored is the rarest power of all. So here we are. You've seen what emotional control really is. It's not about being cold. It's not about suppressing your feelings or pretending life doesn't touch you. It's about building something stronger than reaction. A kind of internal architecture that doesn't fall when the world shakes. It's about becoming a person who chooses their response. Not because they're trying to impress someone, but because they know who they are. And they're not willing to hand that over to a passing emotion. The truth is, you will be tested. Not once, not twice, but over and over again. People will push your buttons. Life will poke at your fears. You'll be disrespected, misunderstood, and underestimated. But you'll also be given a choice. To react like everyone else, or respond like someone who's built different. Most people never make that choice. They let their emotions lead them into damage, drama, and decisions they regret. But not you. Not anymore. Because now you understand the truth. Emotional control is your superpower. It protects your time. It strengthens your relationships. It shapes your reputation. And most of all, it gives you back your peace. This isn't just a mindset. It's a skill, a muscle, something you build every single day. With every pause, every breath, every moment you choose calm over chaos. That's how it grows. That's how you become unshakable. Not all at once, but one quiet act at a time. So here's the call. Not just to think differently, but to live differently. Practice the pause. Own your morning. Welcome discomfort. Reflect at night. And speak with intention. These aren't just habits. They're weapons in a world that's constantly trying to take your attention, your energy, your focus. Start small. Miss once. Don't miss twice. Train like your peace depends on it. Because it does. If this message resonated with you, if it made you stop and think, even for a second, take one more second and subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. Share this video with someone who's ready to get serious about their mindset. It takes less than a moment, but it keeps this movement growing. Because we're not just talking about philosophy here. We're building something real, something rare. In a noisy, distracted, impulsive world, we're building clarity, strength, stillness, power, the kind that doesn't have to shout. And if you made it this far, that tells me something about you. You're not here to be like everyone else. You're here to rise, to evolve, to lead, quietly, powerfully, stoically. Train your mind, guard your emotions, master your response. Because your future is built in the moments when you choose not to break. And now, you're ready to choose.